Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, I just grabbed your ASR disk and it's all gone. Your new antivirus broke a whole division. Being the tech support person that other tech support companies call as a last resort. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I just grabbed your ASR disk and it's all gone. New guy joins the support team and we share an office. I'm the more experienced one, so he's learning the ropes from me. On one of his very first days, he gets a request to upgrade Windows on a laptop for some big mucky muck. Thinking that he'll impress me with his initiative, he starts the process before I get to work. When I arrive, my new, somewhat reactive office mate immediately grabs me and starts in with "I'm in big trouble, I'm going to get fired." I can see that he's really worried. I can't imagine what he could have done at this place that could get him fired so quickly. "Why, what happened?" I asked. "I needed to upgrade a Windows laptop for important guy in corner office, so I grabbed your install disk. And it whipped everything." "What disk did you grab?" He shows me a disk labeled ASR. Oops. That's not a setup disk, it's an automated system recovery disk, used for automatically mass installing Windows onto many devices at the same time. You insert the disk, turn on the system, and it immediately whips the hard drive and installs Windows over the network. I still kinda smile imagining what horrors must have been going through his head as he saw the hard drive suddenly start going crazy, instead of getting a normal Windows setup screen. And then it wouldn't boot afterward? Oh, the pain he must have been feeling. I tell him what he had just done. He asks me why I would have such a dangerous thing in my possession, and actually gets kinda mad at me. He tells me that the laptop belongs to a high-level exec, and he's deathly afraid to tell him that all of his data is now gone. He's sure to be fired on the spot. I laugh and say, "No, you won't. Come with me, watch and learn, we'll take care of it together." He should have backups or copies of anything important. If he's in such a position in the company, then he's fully aware of his responsibility to protect his and the company's data. We go to the guy's office and I tell him what had happened. He's disappointed, really disappointed. I apologize for the accident and tell him that we've removed every ASR disk so that it couldn't possibly happen again. He asks about data recovery. Sure, we can attempt that, but no guarantees and it's expensive. I can tell that he's getting more agitated. As a subtle reminder of his responsibilities, I casually mention, for quite some time now, support has offered a few different services that will automatically back up your data and even your complete profile. You just never know, even when things are going perfectly, when a hard drive might fail, a laptop gets dropped or stolen. He stood there and I see a transformation come over his face. He gets it. Yeah, I should have enrolled this into the automatic backup process a long time ago. He even knew the name of the backup software we were using. We eventually leave and never hear of it again. The new guy eventually moved to executive support, so I guess he was just a glutton for punishment. Your new antivirus broke a whole division. This was back maybe a decade ago. I had just got my start in IT after being out of college and working retail attempting to get out. I had been able to join a small 5-person firm that was in the middle of a merger with another 5-person firm. As such, our firm IT was taking over the IT of the clients of the other company Phone Setup. We came into one of Phone Setup's big clients, large manufacturing company in the area that basically everyone in this small town had family working for, Builder, Inc. I was tasked to work with one of the senior guys in IT to roll out a new AV for all of the machines at Builder, Inc. Mostly this should have been done via GPO, but their old AV, I forgot what it was, had a manual removal process, so I was tasked with going to each machine during someone's lunch break or downtime to run the uninstall steps, reboot, and reboot again so the AV would install. All in all, this was going to take a while. However, not even a week in, when we had maybe 25% of the company protected, we get a call about how the new AV is causing massive slowdowns to all the machines they are installed on. Me, being new to IT, deferred to the senior tech, but didn't think it was ours as full scanning hadn't been enabled. In fact, the only scanning that was done for this test group was nightly from like 8 p.m. Joe, the lead on this rollout, asks me for a list of devices from each division of Builder so he can pull one from each to once again separate into another group. So I did that and asked Joe what he was thinking. Joe let me know that since these are old, even at that time, 32-bit machines with 2 GB of RAM and XP installed on them, this was near the great XP EOL, that the machines were just slow to begin with, and that the users were blaming it on the AV to try and not make their bosses look cheap/lazy for not updating their machines in over a decade. I get Joe the list, and he makes a new group with some different settings. We wait a week and have a meeting with the client, including one of the shift managers, Hank, who had been yelling the loudest about how the new AV was making things slow. I don't recall it verbatim, but part of the conversation went like this. Joe, so Hank, how has your machine been running this past week? Hank, fantastic. I told you that new virus software you put on was slowing us down. We need to go back to that old software as it doesn't keep us from slowing down. Joe, are you sure about that? You're absolutely sure that compared to last week everything has been running faster? Hank, yup, it's like night and day, Joe. I don't recall the rest of the meeting, but after Hank left, Joe let the higher-ups know that the only change he did was remove the icon on the taskbar showing the AV was on, and that all other scanning settings were the same. He even brought up the policies he created, and the only difference was the show icon button was unchecked. We did eventually have to upgrade those machines ahead of the XP EOL deadline because of the AV, but that was down the line and after an upgrade, and is another story. Being the tech support person that other tech support companies call as a last resort. Back in the day, I was the golf pro for several computer stores. I had the latest certificates, including being a CNE4. Novel NetWare. I was called in by one store to go to a large law firm. The problem was that Canada had instituted the goods and services tax, which now covered this industry, so their billing software had to be updated to add this new tax field. The problem was that when you ran the update on the server would get about 80% done, then the computer would lock up. There were several other techs that had visited this law office, and their first idea was run the map command. As it turns out, this company was using Novell 1.0.0, so the map command didn't exist. Many techs had left recommending that they update the server and the NetWare to at least Novell 3.x, the company, before they would even touch this company. As an aside, I had been to this company many times before to fix machines that didn't boot. People being people, when they were bored would open various files, i.e. command.com, into their word processor, WordPerfect, see that it was apparently junk, and then save and close and carry on. This was before recent documents existed. The next morning their computer would not boot. A simple boot from floppy and sysc would fix this problem. This was a small guaranteed income stream until people stopped looking at things they should not have. If they had just exited without saving, they would have been fine. Back to the problem at hand. Tried the update, same result as everyone else. Rebooted the NetWare server, contacted the developers of this software. They could not reproduce the fault, and this was the only reported problem. The law office was getting desperate. As we all know, if you don't bill someone, you don't get paid, so they were rapidly running out of their line of credit. Going back to my home programming skills, I recalled where I would occasionally exit twice from a program, which would unload command.com. So I ran command.com to load another copy into RAM, ran the update, and it worked to completion. Ran a few checks and closed out the ticket. What made this the most memorable TS experience was having to sue the company that hired me to get paid.